Are you ready for the best damn radio show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
You know on the beat every time, no. I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that thing. While I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who's coming to the stage. Sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the core. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, then listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Starts like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs. You know what's going on. Man, now we're After Dark, no LA. We the big spark. No 4th and inches won't cut short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzz beaters. We coming live all through your speakers. Go.
And what is going on, Man Hour Nation? It's your boy Brandon Combs coming to you live on a Sunday. It is Southside Irish Parade Day here in Chicago. So what better way than to see an Irish man laid out on the canvas wearing Packers gear? I freaking love it. At any rate, it is Sunday. It is March 12th. It is Southside Irish Parade Day. If you guys are going to the parade, let us know. Hit us up in the comments. Tell us what you guys are doing, where you guys are going, where we should meet you at, where we doing shots, where we doing Irish car bombs at. That's what I want to know. I can't do Irish car bombs today. I've got to go pick up my boss and the CEO from my company. It is, man, I can't even drink on Southside Irish Parade Day. But nonetheless, I digress. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about today. We've got the Chicago Bears trading the number 1 draft pick. They got a haul for the number 1 draft pick, but was it enough? I'm not sure. We're going to talk about that. We're going to interview Brian Nolan, ACL Pro Brian Nolan II. And we're going to talk some WBC, some baseball. Might even dive into the whole JJ Redick thing. Who knows what we're going to get into? One thing's for sure. I've got a co-host with the biggest nose you've ever seen. He is Ryan Fitzgibbons. What's going on?
How dare you? Is this because I said you took Trey Turner to homecoming?
Dude.
Free Timmy!
Timmy
Anderson!
Could you smell the river dying green from there?
Yeah. My nose would probably be warm right now about 15 years ago. It'd be nice, and I'd be like Rudolph at this point. About 15 years ago, I'd be half in the bag, feeling pretty good.
If you put some tinfoil on the tip of it, you think you can start picking up signals from outer space?
Yes. If we still had TV, I mean, if we still had antennas on our TVs, yeah, I'd be changing. I could change tempo in an orchestra.
We'll start picking up military channels and shit. Ryan, point your nose to the west. We're gonna bomb Africa? What is going on?
You know what I can do? I can pick up you whining about your day coming up with a Play Like a Champion shirt on. Play like a champion, Brandon.
Play like a champion today, baby.
Combs.
The Irish. I'm gonna play like a champion today. After I get to the hotel, I'll have a couple of drinks for sure. But hey, look, man, did you see that JJ Redick thing at all?
Yeah, I did. I didn't know he was a grown-ass man. I was always picking on JJ as being kind of soft because he didn't play a lot of defense.
Yeah.
He didn't really have a frame for it, but I don't know if I would play defense if I was his size in the NBA. You get smacked.
I mean, for those of you that don't know, JJ Redick called out Kendrick Perkins because Kendrick Perkins says that the only reason why voters in the NBA are voting for Nikola Jokic to win MVP is because a majority of the voters are white. And he called out Kendrick Perkins and he called out ESPN, frankly, and said, hey, this is the problem with this network. This is the problem with this show, is that we create narratives that aren't there. And
yep.
To me, I felt like it was about time that somebody stood up and said something like that. Because look, I'm all about when something actually happens, us as human beings coming together and making change. But I am not about creating narratives just to create narratives, right? Like it was like when they called, what was it? Who was the reporter who got in trouble, or the play-by-play guy got in trouble because he said something about I think it was Antonio Brown being a thug, or some NFL player being a thug, or having a
you can even go back to Howard Cosell.
Yeah,
calling somebody a little monkey when he said that about all players, white, black, any color,
right,
or any creed. I mean, we've been talking about this for weeks. Terry Bradshaw,
and that's all.
Big guy.
That's all JJ Redick was doing, was just pointing out, hey, stop creating narratives. And I loved every second of it. I thought it was great.
There's enough going on in the world that you can pull from. The thing is it's harder to do those things. It's lazy to say, oh, Nash won because he was white. Now, how much points did he create? You have to dig in to why he was MVP that year. I mean, Kobe's team wasn't good that year. Sorry. 40. How many 500 teams make the damn have an MVP player on them? Not a lot.
And to tell Perkins, hey, it was convenient you stopped at 1990 when in 87, 88, and 89, Magic Johnson won it, and he wasn't even in the top 15 in scoring in any of those seasons.
Yep. Very true.
And I get it. And look, Kendrick Perkins is guilty of that. I've said that a lot. There are a lot of people out there that create narratives. And look, it's not just some of the black reporters on ESPN. They're not the only ones that create narratives.
No.
There's guys out there that create narratives all the time. I would Skip Bayless being one of them.
Yeah.
His co-host Shannon Sharp is another one of them.
Old, rich, white men and women created probably more than any race.
I loved it. I thought it was great. I was there for every part of that, because it was about time that somebody stood up and said, hey, let's not just create narratives that aren't even there, because they're not. It's not like a white guy wins every year in the NBA MVP.
And good for JJ Redick, just because he didn't blink.
No,
not once. He was fiery.
Yeah,
I did not see that coming, man. I don't even know if Perkins saw it coming.
You know who else didn't blink? Ryan Poles.
Yeah.
Ryan Poles did not blink when the Carolina Panthers offered him a first-round pick this year, number 9, first-round pick next year, probably going to be a top 10 pick, and 2 second-round picks. Oh, and by the way, we're going to throw in our number 1 wide receiver, DJ Moore, into the mix. And I'm not sure that's enough, Ryan. Is it enough for you?
You'd be in the minority there. I think they had some headwinds they were going against there. I think you could count DJ Moore as a late first round pick. I think you could say that. I think he's better than a late round pick, but that's what they would have gotten for him if Carolina was going to trade DJ Moore. That's who they would have gotten for him. I mean, he's $17 million a year, and I was wrong on the text I sent to you because I was pretty sick that day. But it's not 2-year contract; it's 3-year contract. $17 million a year for that guy. Come on. No quarterbacks at Carolina, and he did put up those numbers. I think it is enough. I mean, they had some headwinds. The Colts and Texans, I thought from the beginning that they didn't have to really trade for that first pick. I mean, is there that big a difference between Bryce Young and CJ Stroud, or Will Levi, or Richardson? I mean, there isn't that big of a gap. There's nobody that was head and shoulders. There's no Burrows in this draft. If there was, they would have got more. Plus, everybody knows they weren't going to, no matter how much Ryan Poles called up his GM buddies, had Warren Sapp out there shilling for him, saying that they were going to trade Justin Fields. They weren't going to. They weren't going to. I mean, I think we knew that. I think even my brother, John, knew that, even though he was messing with us. And those are some headwinds. Even with all those headwinds, to get a haul like this, man, and the Carolina Panthers are not going to be good this year. Without DJ Moore and a new quarterback, you're going to get a top 10 pick again. I mean, I think it's a very good. I think it's a very good haul. I mean, I don't think it's an excellent haul. I think it would have been very hard to have an excellent haul. I think Ryan Poles told you what he was going to do, which he did want to be set up in free agency to have this trade done before free agency. Now, we never believed anything the guy said. Why would we? Why would we believe a GM at this time? But he did say that, and that's exactly what he did. He wanted to be set up so he knew what to get in free agency. I mean, I think it's a very good haul.
Look, it's a good haul, but you start thinking about some of the things that other teams have got. Oh, was it the San Francisco 49ers? And I texted you this right after the trade happened. The Niners moved up from 12 to 3. They gave up 3 first-round picks to move up from 12 to 3. Now, I'm not saying that it wasn't a good trade. What I'm saying is I don't think they got as much value as they could have had they held on to it for a little bit longer.
You don't think they got 3 first-round picks out of this?
No, DJ Moore's not a first-round pick.
And a second-round pick.
I guess you would have to how you look at it, right?
Pick. You would have to trade a first-round pick for DJ Moore to get DJ Moore. You would.
What they just traded for was a guy who, when you put up the numbers, and I sent this to you as well, his numbers over the last 5 years would put him number 1 all time with the Bears in receiving with 364 catches and a little over 5,000 yards. And he would be behind not a wide receiver, but 2 running backs all time in receiving yards. What?
Yeah. If this was 1998, those stats wouldn't be passable for me. It's 2023.
Walter Payton.
God bless that man. What they did to him. I mean, the punishment they put him under. Forgetting Fitzgibberish, by the way.
And that's why I think Bears fans are so excited about this trade. I think if the Bears were a good run franchise, if Virginia McCaskey wasn't waddling her 100-year-old ass out there every damn week, I can't. Is she dead yet?
How about when she was pissed?
How do we not have this? How do we not have in this organization a charter franchise of the NFL? A charter franchise of the NFL. Top 2 leading wide receivers are freaking running backs. We've never had a quarterback throw for 4,000 yards. We've never had a receiver catch over 1,500 yards in a season.
It's the leadership, man. I mean, it's you get pissed after the Fox era, which was really bad. I mean, he didn't have a lot to go on either, but it was really bad. And you say that Virginia's pissed. George McCaskey comes on and says, I don't know if you ever seen a 94-year-old woman pissed, but she was pissed off. And you bring in Ryan Pace, who's not a scout, who doesn't have a lot going for him, who's obviously, in over his head.
But he was white.
Oh, here we go.
Look, I say it all the time.
Tinfoil nose.
I talk about it all the time, and this isn't. And we just talked about this too, about creating narratives. But this wasn't a narrative, man. This was actual stuff that you would see in this organization, and it was never evolved. It was just like, hey, go get us the next white guy. Go get us the next white quarterback. That's the only possible reason you take Mitch Trubisky over freaking Deshaun Watson. It's the only reason.
Or you're not a scout. Or you're not a scout.
Yeah, or you're not a scout. But you keep moving backwards. Dude, if I asked you right now, maybe you could answer this, but if I ask a general fan out there right now, who's the all-time leading wide receiver in Bears history? Do you know?
You mean yardage-wise?
Yardage and catches. He leads in both. And I'm talking about receiver, not running back, not Walter Payton, not what the hell is his name?
God, I just looked this up the other day.
It's Alshon freaking Jeffrey.
Alshon Jeffries, yeah, because
he played 5 years with the Bears.
And what's his name is right behind him, Morrissey, or who's right behind him?
I didn't even look because I was so aggravated. I was so aggravated at number 1. I didn't even look at number 2. Like this organization has so far to go, and that's why I think Bears fans are excited about this trade. That's why I think Bears fans are excited about DJ Moore.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And look, I didn't want the Bears to move all the way down to 9, and that was the other problem I had with this trade. Was you moved out of position for Will Anderson. You had the number 1 overall pick. You have a severe need for an edge rusher. And you moved away from a guy who people are telling you is a generational talent on the edge. So you move away from Houston. You move away from Indianapolis. And now those are no longer possibilities. Because those guys are trading up, they're not trading down.
No.
So that to me means that starting on Wednesday, when you can sign free agents, Frank Clark is probably the Bears' number 1 target. Orlando Brown is probably number 2. Mike McGlinchey might be on there. I haven't looked it up yet to see if they actually I'm pretty sure they didn't use their franchise tag on McGlinchey. So you've got guys like that are out there. But I think that your edge rusher now is your prime target in free agency. And I think that it also shows that they are really going to attempt to beef up the offensive line in free agency, because there's not an offensive line that moves the needle, an offensive lineman that moves the needle in this draft. So I might get my wish. The Bears might end up with
come on.
I think about it though.
How about this? Yeah, and Quentin Johnston. Yeah, but you
don't have a number 2 right now.
You have no one protecting the quarterback. I mean, it depends what they do in free agency.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Orlando Brown, Mike McGlinchey. You go out and you start building your line through free agency. That's what you're going to spend the rest, because now that you went out and got DJ Moore, that brought you down from, I believe it was, so you start out with 126, but I think 30 of that or 35 of that you have to spend through the draft, right? So that brings you down to 95. Well, now with DJ Moore, that's a $20 million cap hit. So now you're down to 75, right? So now all of the 75 million has to go into your offensive line and an edge rusher. It has to.
Well, yeah, probably. Yep, probably. What if Jalen Carter drops to 9? Then what do you think about this trade?
I don't want a guy like that in my locker room. Do you want that guy in your locker room? It's a character. It's a character flaw for me, right? Look, I am I'm a supervisor for a construction company, right? And there have been times where I have had to let people go who I liked, who I thought were really good carpenters, who I thought were really good builders, and who I genuinely liked talking to. I knew their wives, I knew their kids. One of them freaking hit a car in a parking lot and drove off. Right? Because he thought he was going to pop on a piss test when we don't even freaking test for that stuff. You know what I mean? Because he thought he was going to get popped for marijuana. I had to fire him. And it's not because I didn't like him. It's not because he was a good builder. It's because of a character thing.
You firing somebody.
But that's what I'm saying. But it's a character thing. You don't want that, because how do you know that there's not more that he's doing that he's not telling you about? Had he just called me and said, "Hey, look, I was in Home Depot, I was backing in, I accidentally scraped this car."
Yeah.
All right, cool. We'll call the insurance. We'll deal with it. You still have a job. But you took off. You didn't say anything, and I didn't find out until the cops came and asked me. Now everybody's involved. Now upper management's involved. I can't save you. You're fired. You know what I'm saying? So you've got to stay away from that guy if you are an NFL franchise that is trying to restructure your image and restructure your image with the fans. And look, if you go out and you get an edge rusher in free agency, if you go out and you beef up your offensive line in free agency, right? What you do in the draft is wide receiver, because that is the one thing and I talked about this before, because I've wanted Quentin Johnston for a long time. I've been on this train for a very long time. Wide receiver, TCU. What you can't get in free agency right now is a wide receiver that is 6'6", 215 with great hands and breakaway speed. It's not available in free agency. You cannot get that in free agency, but you can get that in the draft. He will be available at number 9. There's a lot of people that are projecting him to go in the second round. To me, that's crazy.
Yeah,
I don't let him get that far.
Too. They think I'm not going to Jackson Smith
and Jigba.
Yeah, he's going to go.
Yeah.
Him.
I don't. He might. He had a great combine. Combine's stupid, but he had a great combine in his shorts with nobody else around him. I don't. If you're the Bear, to me, this suggests you're beefing up the line, you're getting an edge rusher, you're doing all that in free agency, and in the draft, you're going for your number 2 wide receiver. Because you don't have a number 2 right now. You don't. You've got 4 number 3s.
You also have 7 other picks before the 5th round is over. You also have 7 other picks other than the first round pick. You have 8 picks.
You do have 7 other picks.
You have other picks. So yeah, you can do a wide receiver. You can. Then you're stacked at wide receiver, and you can find an edge rusher in the second round, and even in the third round.
You can find offensive linemen. You can find running backs. You can find all sorts of things in the second round. What you can't find is the wide receiver that I just talked about. You can't, because look, I'm telling you right now, I don't think the Patriots are going to let Quentin Johnston pass them. It wouldn't make sense for them to let Quentin Johnston pass them. For whatever quarterback they're going forward with, the Patriots need that big wide receiver. And a guy like him, who does Bill Belichick love? And it's so widely known who Bill Belichick loves, right? Which wide receiver in the NFL does Bill Belichick love? Do you know this answer? I know this answer.
I do not know this answer.
Okay, so
AJ Brown?
No. No, he loves DeAndre Hopkins. There's been a video of him talking to DeAndre Hopkins before the game. Dude, I love you. He's like, you are a prototypical wide receiver. I love your game, everything that you bring to it. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up with the Patriots. But if he doesn't end up with the Patriots, because the Cardinals are definitely going to trade him, Quentin Johnston is DeAndre Hopkins. So the Patriots aren't letting him pass. I'm telling you right now, if the Bears don't go and get this guy, if they don't end up with Johnston or even in Jigba, if you don't end up with one of those 2 wide receivers, by the end of year 1, Bears fans are going to be like, I can't believe we didn't get one of those guys. I can't believe we pass on Justin Jefferson again.
Don't the Texans take Quentin Johnston before the Patriots do? I mean, the
Texans are picking at 2.
Yeah, they also have another pick at 12. I mean, maybe to help out their quarterback, but I don't know. They have so many needs for the Texans. Yeah, they might not be even thinking. Maybe they do until 1 or 2 years from now. They might not be. They're so behind. They're not where the Bears are.
Craig Hevlin checking in. What's going on, Craig? Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining in. He says use draft capital to move up. If the draft comes to you, trade up. Possibilities are endless. Are you going to use the picks that you just acquired to gain draft capital? Are you going to use those to lose draft capital to move up? I don't see. What scenario can they move up though? Like where?
In the second round, maybe
you're not moving up to 3. I think he's talking about Will Anderson. I think he's talking about Will Anderson. So maybe he's talking about Will Anderson drops to 6. Maybe you could try to move up from 9 to 6 and use one of those second round picks. But I don't know any of those teams ahead of where the Bears are at right now that would allow you to get Will Anderson at the expense of them not getting Will Anderson.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know that comes to you. Now, maybe in the second round, third round, fourth round, yes, you can use that draft capital. If there's somebody out there that's blowing your socks off, maybe even if Jalen Carter falls to the second round, third round. But I don't want that guy in my locker room, though. And those are the only guys that I'm moving up for, are guys like that. I'm not moving up to take a running back or a tight end that I can find in the second or third round of any draft. You know what I mean?
I think if anything, this signifies that the Bears, there's a seat change there. And it's palpable that now that the Bears are going with the offensive side of the ball instead of the defensive side of the ball, because that's where you win championships.
Yeah. No, I agree. Doubting Thomas says that the Panthers trade down from 1 and get a better deal with both of your heads explode on live TV. I mean, look, if the Panthers trade down from 1 and they get the deal that I was talking about the Bears getting with, right? Like, you trade the Texans for 2 and 12, and then you trade to the Colts for number 4. Now all of a sudden you've got 4 and 12, and they end up with Will Anderson. My head might explode on live TV. It might happen.
They don't have a quarterback. I mean, I just don't see that happening. They went up to get a quarterback.
The best part is we're going to be live from Bourbon Street for night 1 of the draft, right? We're going to be doing our show live from Bourbon Street.
So Doubting Thomas
happens on draft night. I'm telling you right now, Doubting Thomas. I'm telling you right now, if this happens on draft night, you might need to come down to Bourbon Street and you might need to help people, because I might just start fighting everybody. Like, I like the Bears, and this would be the most Bears thing ever, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I mean,
would you feel like they got fleeced if that happened?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say they didn't, but I just don't see it happening. I mean, I don't know what was happening in the conversations. I know the Colts had some package they put together. I don't think it was as good as Carolina's. Obviously, it wasn't. They were going down to 9, but I think it was a better advantage to go with this, because then you don't have to draft a wide receiver. You're not forced to.
The rumor that I heard was the Colts were going to give the number 4, the number 1 next year, and only 1 second-round pick, not 2 like the Panthers gave up, but Quentin Nelson. I would have taken that deal over the Panthers deal. I'm sorry, I just would have.
I don't know.
Because now I'm getting an offensive lineman, which is like, I'm telling you, DJ Moore. He's a nice piece. He's a good wide receiver. He's a nice piece.
He's a number 1 wide receiver.
You can find that again in the draft. We've already talked about it. You can find that in Njigba. You can find that in Quentin Johnston.
Kevin White was supposed to be a number 1 wide receiver. He got hurt 3 or 4 years in a row. And you could say, I wasn't big on Kevin White. Everybody was big on Kevin White. And there is, Terrell Davis, all these other receivers that were supposed to be sure things that weren't. You can name a lot of them. For every good one, you can name a bad one.
Velus Jones.
He was a 3rd rounder, but he was the first. Yeah, he was a 3rd rounder, but he was our first offensive pick of last draft. So
yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if he's a bust yet. I think he could be a good, complimentary player. Yeah, but I mean, he came on a little bit late in the season, but you're probably right. He's probably a bust. There's a lot of busts that come in and get hurt. A guy who's 6'6", 230, 240, whatever Quentin Johnson is, that spells hurt.
Johnny wants to know, why aren't you guys drinking yet? Well, Johnny, your brother forgot today was the parade. So that's number 1. Number 2, I've actually got to work tonight, so I'm stuck not drinking as much. I mean, I might still have 1 or 2.
Play like a champion.
Irish car bombs.
Play like a champion.
Look, I got the stuff behind me to make some Irish car bombs today, so
all right.
It's probably going to happen. Southside Irish Parade is today. Normally, right now, we have Johnny Torres come on, but he has not responded to any messages, and I think he went out last. I think he went out last night, so it might have been a late night. So We do have an interview. It is Brian Nolan II. We're going to bring him on here in just a moment. I do see that he is backstage, so we'll bring him on here in just a moment. Southside Irish Parade Day is a big deal in Chicago, right? Yesterday, they dyed the river green. Ryan Fitz could smell it with that big-ass nose from Indiana.
Unbelievable.
That dude, if you turn to the right or to the left, the entire outfield disappears underneath that nose. So I don't know what to tell you, but Southside Irish Parade is a big deal. It's
you're not in Marine shape either. I got a battle,
dude. I'm not in Marine shape.
I saw those Marine pictures. It looks like a different person. Where is that Combs?
Look,
he's somewhere.
I've got a T-shirt. I got a T-shirt that says, "Not as lean, not as mean, but still a Marine." Okay, buddy. So say what you want about it. It is what it is. All right, but we've got ACL Pro Brian Nolan coming on. Johnny is not with us, so he can't intro us like he normally does. I don't know where he's at. I don't know what he's doing. Probably still laid up. Probably hungover. He might actually be at the Southside Irish Parade doing what your brother is talking about doing and drinking. But we're gonna bring on Brian right now. Brian, what's going on, buddy?
Good morning. Quick correction: I am not an ACL Pro.
Oh, what the Johnny? Johnny put the wrong.
You must have.
Check all the gutters on the south side of Chicago.
Yeah,
sewer.
I've not heard from him.
Yeah, I haven't heard from him this morning yet either. Like I said, he's probably already down on 103rd and Western, waiting for floats with a 30 rack by his side. I'm not gonna lie.
Shocked.
Yeah, not at all. All right, so I see the T-shirt there. Not an ACL Pro, but just see the T-shirt there. You got Man Cave Mondays on, dude. I watched some of these Man Cave Monday videos, the live streams.
Yeah,
and dude, there's some shooters down there, man.
For sure. Yeah, we're probably, I would say, the most competitive blind draw in the Midwest. Maybe.
Ooh.
I would venture to say.
Have you come down to Southside Bags? Have you come down to Bourbon Street and seen what we got going on down there?
I have.
Okay.
And it is also impressive.
Yeah.
Maybe let me switch that. Maybe we're the longest running competitive blind.
Yeah.
draw.
No, you guys got some. I mean, look, some of the guys, do come down to Bourbon Street every week. We've seen a whole lot of guys down there. We had Reezy come down a couple weeks ago. It was his birthday. That dude is ridiculous as well.
Yeah, he's been shooting great. Yeah.
There was a live stream a couple weeks ago, and I can't remember who it was that hit the shot, but it was like to win the tournament. It was his first win or something. Brian something, I think is his name. Was it Brian Smith? Maybe I can't remember what his name is. But he hit a shot where the bag was like 3 inches to the right of the hole, like parallel with the hole, and he just dragged it in. And I'm like, dude, I've never in my life seen a shot.
That might have been Rob. Was that Rob Morris?
You know what? Yes, it was Rob Morris. Yes.
Yeah, he's been on the heater lately.
Dude, he's ridiculous.
Yeah, definitely most improved bagger. He just started playing with us maybe 2 summers ago.
Yeah.
And just consistency pays off because I'm not going to say he's untouchable, but whatever the step below that is, that's him for sure.
And that's why I love these events, is because you've got guys like myself, who is just, look, I'm
bad.
I'm a guy who can win my family barbecue, right? But when I come down to this place, I'm like, damn. So I'm like constantly improving, trying to find different bags that work for me, trying to do what I do. And after I go 0-2 in most of these tournaments, I sit on the empty boards and I just keep tossing and keep practicing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But these, like, you'll have pros like Tom Gustafson comes over to Bourbon Street all the time, who will come and stand next to you and work with you. Who will talk with you, and you get some of these guys and you're like, dude, that's, it's a completely different environment than any other sport that you could play.
Yeah, no, I agree. Just the community in general is very inviting. And people tend not to be jerks.
Yeah.
And yeah, the better players always want to work with the incoming players, 'cause that's how we grow the sport, right? If
Right.
I'm a great player and I
Yeah.
don't know if I can curse on this podcast, but
Oh, of course you
I'm
can.
Fuck
I'm an
yeah, you
asshole,
can.
right? Then people are like, "Oh, this isn't fun. I don't want to come back.
Yeah.
I'll just go stay in my bowling league or whatever." So
You,
Right.
I have noticed that everybody has been super kind in the community.
you said they tend not to be assholes, and you said it does get competitive. Has it ever gotten chippy
Oh,
in a way? I mean, I'm sure it has.
A
But,
little bit. Usually, people only get out of pocket when they're gambling.
okay.
Usually after the tournament or before, sometimes we'll have cash games, right? So I can call you up, say, "Hey, Ryan, $20, let's go."
No,
Mhm.
thank you.
And then it's like, "Oh, I'll pay you next week," or "I'll buy you a beer instead." Then people get
Ooh, wow.
Things can get
Welching on
hairy.
some bets.
that doesn't happen often, but occasionally, people are, 5 or 6 beers in,
and you get some guys out there, man, that can really talk shit. Like you got, I've seen Bobby Bags, Mike Vitti. Like there are some guys out there, man, that will just talk shit. Like I
Yeah.
like to talk shit, but
yeah,
like, and I can hold my own. But the way I like to talk shit, especially on throwing bags, is I like to mess with your game.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
right.
Like I'll mess with, like if I know the person real well, like Mike Vitti, I know him real
Mhm.
well. If I'm playing against him and he's hot, when I go and I clean up the bags, I'll throw 2 of his bags off the board on the floor and make him go pick them up. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that's
Get him out
that's
of
how I'm
his rhythm, right?
But you've got
Yeah.
some guys that really like to talk shit. So I can't imagine
Yeah.
it's never gotten chippy.
Yeah, every now and then. But I mean, most of the time it's just friendly banter. It tends not to get to that level.
What's
You
your
ever
best
get-
bag story?
Go ahead.
Ooh, man, that's a great question. I've been playing bags for a long time. Best bag story.
Like Ed, the one that you probably shouldn't tell us, but you need to tell us anyway. That's the one we want. We want the one that somebody's gonna be
have
like,
to
dude,
swear
you call me
while
out
you're
like that
telling.
on this show. Like that's the one. Only 2 million
Mm.
people are gonna listen to this over the week, just so you know. We only reach 2 million people a week.
I love it. Man, let's see. I don't know if I have any. I mean, I've seen some great games. If you want to hear some juicy gossip, I'll have to think about that.
All right, we'll come back to
I know
that
I'll
question
come up
then.
with some. Yeah, I know I'll come
All
up
right.
with something.
All right, Fitzy, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna ask my weekly performance enhancing drug question for a Brian Nolan. Is there a certain amount of drinks, and what drinks are they that make you good at bags? And then how many make go the opposite way? Or is there no drinking for a Brian Nolan at all?
Oh no, there's definitely. Well, it depends. It depends. I spend a lot of time these days directing tournaments. I don't play as much as I used to, but when I am playing, yeah, it's tequila shots.
All right. What kind of tequila?
If I have it my way, Casadores.
All right.
Okay.
I'm not
Yeah.
a big Casamigos, Patron. That shit's pretty terrible. In my opinion.
Yeah.
No offense to the Casamigo lovers out there.
Trying to
Yeah, so
hide
the
my
sweet-
bottle of
the
Don Julio.
Right. Don Julio's not terrible. The sweet spot is probably like 4 shots
There you go.
over the course of that first hour and a half. If I go faster than that, might not be a good outcome.
Dude, if we get Ryan 4 shots in an hour and a half, he's gonna be laying on the floor throwing the to himself.
No.
Yeah.
You take
Yeah,
any
that-
other drug and I got terrible tolerance. You give me alcohol, I'm pretty good.
You're the good
Although
one.
I'm about the same way you are, but with scotch. Once I get to the 5th scotch, and I'll sip it, but it'll be like a shot and a half, just with some ice.
Mm-hmm.
But once I get to the 5th, and at Bourbon Street, like a month or two ago, I got to the 5th, and it was bad. We were out of the tournament pretty fast. I was playing with Johnny Torres too.
Okay.
So, who's pretty much carrying me the whole way, even though I did hit the bag to win the first game.
See, Johnny and I are kind of on the same page. We do the screwball, man. Shots of screwball all night long.
Screwball's pretty good. What's your Ryan? What's your scotch of choice?
There it was Johnny Walker Black, but I usually don't drink that. I'll usually do a Glenlivet or even Monkey Shoulder's good, which is a blend, or a Chivas, which is another blend. But I'm not a guy that needs single malt or anything like that. If you get the Chivas 14-year and I'm playing with you on your team, we're not going to do good. But if you're playing against me, that's probably a good strategy for you. That shit goes down like water, man. I mean, I can drink a whole bottle, and good to know. You're noting that down right now.
Yeah. When I come to Bourbon Street, I'll be buying you the 14.
I promise you don't need any of that to beat Ryan.
Brian's gonna be in a blind. No, Brian's gonna be in a blind draw at Bourbon Street, and he's gonna be like, "Who's my partner?" And I'm gonna be walking around with a vat of Chivas, and they're gonna be like, "That guy's your partner," and he's gonna be like, "Give me my $20, Pat."
No, it's all fun.
Yeah.
All right, so give me one player. And I want a guy who comes to Man Cave Mondays. I don't want you picking somebody out at Bourbon Street. I don't want you calling out Johnny Torres.
Yeah,
call him out.
Who you calling out? Who you taking? Whose ass are you whooping in bags? Who can't touch you?
Who can't touch me right now? This is gonna be a good one. I'm gonna call out my partner in Man Cave Mondays, Rob Bev.
Oh shit.
That's what I'm calling out.
All right. We're going to clip that, and you're going to send it to him.
Send it to him. His name is Earl Jr. on Facebook.
All right. Well, I'm going to clip that out, and I'm going to send it to him. He can't touch you is what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. He can't.
You're going to wax that ass. Oh, shit.
That's gonna piss him off.
What other tournaments do you go to? Like, what is your favorite? Do you like the blind draws? Do you like a bring your partner tournament? Do you like a one pro, one non-pro? Like, what do you like for tournaments?
Yeah, I like all of them for different reasons. I like the blind draw because it's welcoming to anybody.
Yep.
So any person can walk in off the street and not feel like, oh, who do I need to play with? I don't have a partner.
Right.
Where do I go? So I like the blind draw for that. And for the potential of an up and coming player to play with somebody that they, look up to. I think that's pretty cool too. In terms of the bring your own partner, that's always fun because most of the time every team thinks they're the best, right? So, Oh yeah, we got this. We can take this down. No problem. We won't have any competition. And then you kind of see people battle it out to the end. And then I like the one pro style tournaments because it's not super stacked.
Right.
For the most part, that's the concept. Occasionally, you will have some non-pro players that are at that level.
Right.
You can't really avoid that. But it's nice to kind of see the balance of the teams.
And
it tends to be super even.
There are definitely some guys that go on Mondays, some guys that go on Thursdays, Tuesdays, wherever you're shooting, that really could be at the pro level. And I've asked a couple of guys, hey, why aren't you trying to like play pro? And look, time and money. We don't have the time, we don't have the money to go do it all the time. So I just, I play for fun and I play after work. And I'm like, dude, you're like 16 in the hole in a row, like bro, like you could compete, like. So that's why I like tournaments like that. I don't know if you guys have started talking about, but the North Dakota tournament that's coming up in September.
Yeah,
it's a $500 buy-in and a $16,000 payout, but no pros allowed.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a tournament that, you know, a lot of these guys, I'm trying to talk my boy into Billy into going. I don't know if you know Billy.
I may know his face.
Can't think of his last name right now off the top of my head, but Bill Finley.
Okay. I might know his face. Yeah,
dude, the kid's a stud. And I'm like, dude, you go to this tournament. I mean, I'm not going to pay that. I'll go with you. I'm not going to pay $5 to get my ass.
Can't you be a ringer?
Yeah, absolutely. Like just go there and compete, because you could get into some of these tournaments. And once you start winning tournaments like that, that's how you find the money to play in pro tournaments. And then after that, it's just about finding the time and finding the sponsors. But once all that stuff starts coming, I talk to pros that say, even as a pro, you don't get paid to play. Like they're still spending.
Doesn't bowling still have the same problem too? Even though that could be an exciting sport to watch. I mean, unless you're the big earn from the movie Kingpin, not a lot of people are making money in bowling. I mean, really, and there is some strategy there. There's a lot of details to that game, for sure. If you hear bowlers talk about it, but they've had trouble for years getting kicked off ESPN, back on, just not getting the right sponsorship, right?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, cornhole is one of those games that just the further you get down the rabbit hole, the more intense it becomes. From bag selection to your stance to your throw to the type of game you want to play, whether you want to go hole for hole, you want to start blocking people, you want to start rolling bags. It's a lot to it. And so even when you get to that pro level, then you have to compete against the pros across the country. So even if you're the best player in your area, you may not fare very well in the entire pro tournament, because there are just so many people that practice more than you do. And that's really what it is. If you're willing to put in that work and practice, you're going to be great. But if you don't, I mean, for most people, it's just such a grind.
Yeah. It's really, and it's a growing sport, and it's a lot of fun to watch. I mean, there are some things that I've seen, like, I mean, we're throwing up against Tom Gustafson, the reverse Mamba, watching his bag fly. I'm like, what the hell is going on right now? I tried throwing it one time. It went about 4 feet.
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
It did not go very well. But that's the type of stuff that I like, and that's why I love this sport, man. You think about that story you can't tell us yet? There's somebody you want to call. You don't want to call Bev. Like, you don't want to call somebody, like, there's something you've seen. Shots. Like, he had way too much to drink that night, and he got his ass whooped by, like, the 70-year-old woman that came in just to play, or like.
Oh man, let me think of a good. That was.
That one. There we go. That one.
So this was when Man Cave first started. We used to play in Harvey at this bar called the Public League. One day we were playing, and I don't know if you probably know who Jesse Martinez is.
Yes.
So he gets really drunk one day, and I don't remember all the details of the story, but he wanted to fight somebody. And he began to start doing these terrible karate moves. I'll fuck you up. And he started doing all these karate moves, kicking and punching in the air, and everybody was just looking at him like, what are you doing? He just wouldn't stop. He would not stop, and we had to kick him out. And he was banned for like a month from Man Cave.
That's like ridiculous. One of those things you see on Ridiculousness on MTV.
That's like, exactly. He would have made it. I was just like, what are you doing? He just would not stop.
Had that liquid courage.
It was the worst. All
right. Well, Brian, man, we appreciate it. We appreciate you hopping on. We appreciate the stories. I'm definitely gonna clip you calling out your partner. We're gonna put that out there so that way he can come at you on Monday for sure. And I'm gonna try and get out there. I can't get out there this Monday. I think I'm gonna try and get out there on the 20th. So
sounds good. We'd love to have you.
All right, man. We appreciate it. Appreciate the time.
Sure thing. No problem. Thank you, guys.
We'll talk with you again soon.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, man. Later.
Take it.
All right, so that was Brian Nolan II, not an ACL pro, but hey, still a great interview. Still fun to have him on the show. It was a great interview.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Do we need to put Johnny Torres on a milk carton? Is that
I don't know.
He
hopped up in the backstage. I don't know what's going on here.
Maybe he had technical difficulties.
Johnny Torres in bed sick. What's going on, Johnny?
Dude, I am like super sick. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
man, I was there.
You go drinking too much last night?
Oh no! I actually stayed in.
I was there Thursday, man.
Not the Irish flu.
I actually supposed to be at Bourbon later on today.
Oh shit!
They're having an event, but man, I wanted to get on and apologize.
Dude, you don't even have to.
You're good, man.
Publicly, and I promise you, I'm not hungover or anything. We did not go out last night, so
I barely made the show, man. I was sick too. So
you remember I told you're an asshole. No, you remember on Thursday I told you I wasn't feeling well.
Yeah.
So it looks like I have like a head cold, but that and along with the time change, I think fucked me up. But
hell yeah,
I'll make sure to look at the replay and apologize to Brian. I'm sure he's not going to talk to me for like a week.
No,
he'll be all right, man. He was good. He was good on the interview.
It's funny to hear. I hopped on and I was able to listen to the Justin Martinez story. He was on the verge of being banned from Southside Bags too a few weeks ago.
Oh boy, yeah, he's a character.
He's a piece.
Especially once he starts getting drunk.
To say the least, yeah, he's a 2-beer ball guy. Yeah, 2 beers, and he's got some beer balls. All right, guys, I won't hold you guys up. I want to publicly get on here and apologize for that.
Oh man, you're good. Appreciate you.
All right, I'll talk to you.
All right, man. Later. All right, so that was Johnny Torres, Southside Bags, hopping on. Not feeling so good, man. No. I still say it's the Irish flu. No, I'm just joking. Hopefully you get better, Johnny. We'll see you this week out at Bourbon Street for sure. All right, so the Bears. We touched on it a little bit. And they go out and they get DJ Moore. Possibly could get a wide receiver here in the second round. Or in the first round, I should say. Number 9 overall pick. Are we finally going to see a wide receiver go over 1,500 yards in a season? Are we finally going to have a quarterback throw for more than 4,000 yards in a season?
Dare I say yes? I mean, dare I say it? Oh, man. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it's possible now. I mean, you definitely got a guy with an arm. If he can get those intermediate throws together, I think his downfield throws are very good. I don't see how you don't have a guy who's going to be ready to throw 4,000 yards. It's not that hard in the NFL, as we've talked over and over again on this show about. It really isn't, so
you can almost accidentally do it now in today's NFL.
Yeah.
I mean,
if Trevor Lawrence can do it.
Yeah, I want to say yes. But I like with everything with the Bears right now, it's a show me thing.
Yeah.
With everything. With Ryan Poles, with this draft pick, with this draft, with this free agency, between now and April 27th, and I've said this before, this is the biggest offseason in Bears history. There has never been an offseason that is this big for a franchise because this does one of two things. This can only go one of two ways for the Chicago Bears. Ryan Poles either kills it in free agency, beefs up this line, gets an edge rusher, finds some help in the secondary, and then kills it in the draft. Yeah. And we have a great offseason, and we're excited for the future of the Bears. Or it's status quo, and we're stuck watching what we've been stuck watching exactly. Which,
and it's you.
And it's going to be that's going to be me
in the back
at Hellas Hall with a meeting set up with Virginia McCaskey, because you can't, like, that's the only other way this goes, is that it's status quo and he fucks it all up again, like we've seen time and time again over the last 40 years. Like that, and that's what we've been stuck watching for the last 40 years, is people fucking this franchise up. Yeah, and that's what we're going to be stuck again if he does not kill this. He has to kill this free agency. He has to kill this draft. Like, this has to be one of those where we come out and we're like, the Bears absolutely could be a force in the NFC this year. That's what has to happen. You've got double the cap space of anybody else in the league in free agency. You had the number 1 pick, but you got a haul in return and a number 1 wide receiver. You have to kill it, or we're going to need to get another GM and try it again and keep going around in this circle, because those are the only 2 options that can happen. I don't see a third option. I don't see this was all right, but he didn't do that. No, you either have to, because you've got more opportunity than any other team in the league this offseason. No other team can do what you can do.
Yeah, I mean, there better be some movement. It's a good lead into Fitz gibberish if you want to do it.
Let's get into it. A
bit of a retread, but we could get it on now. But I mean, it's hard to have any respect or any loyalty or trust in this team. It is.
Yeah. Let's get into Fitz gibberish. I got your face all up on the screen and shit.
All right. It's another edition of Fitz gibberish, a diatribe, a conspiracy, and an island in the middle of a passionate and sometimes inaccurate sports talk. Are the Bears the worst organization in sports?
Yes.
Just being able to ask the question without a major rebuttal or even a reason for one should tell you the Bears brass what kind of team or Bears brass this is. But while nursing my 4th sickness in 6 months, brought home by my little boy, my co-host Combs, the cocaine to my Adderall, sent me something. DJ Moore's, and we've talked about it, 364 receptions over the last 5 seasons would make him the 3rd on the Bears all-time receptions leaderboard, trailing only Walter Payton and Matt Forte. His receiving yards, most of Bears history, he's 25 fucking years old. According to the Oxford Dictionary, an incel is a member of the online community of young men who consider themselves unable to attract women sexually. Yet I'm willing to believe these men have gotten more action than the Bears' historically bad passing game. These are stats that would have been hard to believe back when they were testing dresses for Bill Clinton's sputum. It's 2023. One of the names that I just mentioned that DJ Moore would be trailing struck me. The late, great, more than great, amazing, fantastic Walter Payton. Let's look at some of his stats. Started in 1975, had sort of a slow season. From the 76 season to the 79 season, he led the league in rush attempts. Led the league. 311, 339, 333, 369, 339 rushing attempts, back-to-back seasons. Also, at the same time, 15 receptions, 27, 50 receptions, 46 receptions. And why was that? Because the Bears had no passing game, which you can almost forgive a little bit in the 70s, although, you had your Terry Bradshaws, you had your Staubachs throwing all over the field. If the Bears would have gave a damn about their players, should it have taken 11 years of punishment for this guy to win a damn Super Bowl? Or would he have had to go through all this punishment? Would he have needed to lead the league year after year in attempts? if he had even a modest passing game. You got Bobby fucking Douglas out there. Is there any gap in sports wider than the gap between ownership and player in football? Do I ask a lot of questions to myself? Yes. If you're honest with yourself and not a shill for an NFL, there's easy answers to those questions. Fast forward to the 2022 Bears. Justin Fields is second in rush attempts at 160 and first in sacks at 55. You have Braxton motherfucking Jones of Southern Utah State. Did you know there was a Southern Utah State at left tackle because you had zero draft capital and almost zero cap space to help your young quarterback? When Fields was asked if he wanted to keep rushing this way, he had this to say.
Honestly, I think this is terrible.
Wait a second. That was Alshon Jeffries, who is the leading receiving yards for the Bears, by the way. Only played, 4 or 5 years for the Bears?
5. Yeah. 5.
But really, is there any other team that puts their players in these situations? I ask you, Brandon. I ask the listening public, the giant listening man hour public. Things better change with this regime, or Fitzgibberish right here is jumping off the Bears bandwagon. How many players do they have to shred through? How many times was Justin Fields almost hurt or half hurt this year? That's Fitzgibberish for you this year. Or this week. Not much fanfare, but I mean, it's just hard to say and it's hard to watch, especially the way you've seen Walter Payton. And I don't want to say this contributed to it, but come on. The drugs they had back then. Cocaine is a hell of a drug, Fitz. Johnny Torres. Yeah. Bobby Douglas you had as your quarterback. I mean, a team that has been this anemic, and you had to run out there, and I could not find, I tried to scour the internet, but for the Bears 30 for 30, Combs, you have Walter Payton in 1979 saying, I don't know if I can take any more of this.
Yeah.
Because of all the rushing he had to do, and those terrible offensive lines, and just a regime that did not care about their players one bit because they were a goddamn cash register. I mean, come on.
And now you have a franchise quarterback. You have a franchise guy who can go out there, who can win you football games, who can do it with his legs, but can also do it with his arm. You went out and you traded all this, your number one pick, got a bunch of draft capital, got a number one wide receiver. You've got at least $60 million more than the next team in the NFL for free agency. You have got the ability to go out there and absolutely anybody you want, nobody else can outbid you for. Anybody you want. You've got two guys who just got released by the Kansas City Chiefs, a team where Ryan Poles just came from. You got Orlando Brown and you got Ryan Clark. Both of them, a defensive end, edge rusher, and an offensive tackle. Guess what? We need an offensive tackle. We need 5 offensive linemen. We need an edge rusher. We need that stuff. And don't give me this stuff that somebody actually said to me, we don't need Orlando Brown. Braxton Jones is just fine.
Are you kidding me? I'm sick of that talk. I really am. Like, Braxton Jones is okay, and maybe he'll be a pretty good player. He seems to have the talent. It looks like they found something there as a backup tackle, or maybe even a right tackle. You know, a backup tackle. You got a decent backup tackle who can go in there and be favorable. You need a top of the line guy. You need a top 5, top 10 player. Enough of this crap. It's been happening now for 45 years. How many more players do we have to put in an early grave because this ownership team is negligent? This is malpractice, man. I can't say it any more harshly. Really, this is ridiculous. In 2023, you're talking your top receivers or your running backs who you shredded through.
Yeah.
I mean, Matt Forte didn't have many more years after he left Chicago.
No, and this is what I'm saying. Like, this organization, this charter franchise in the NFL, and I say it all the time, and that's not just me saying it because it's the truth. This is a charter franchise of the NFL, and this damn team, the ownership, treats it every single year like we're a small market team. Like they have never built a team for this city. You talk about the 85 Bears being the greatest defense, and they are the greatest defense of all time, right? They dominated for one damn year.
Yeah.
One damn year out of the entire history of this organization, we had a dominant franchise. One season.
And you had a pretty good offensive team. And 5-6 years later, you got Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Piloting one of the worst offenses in the league. Like it's just
you wasted careers of guys like Dick Butkus. You wasted careers of guys like Brian Urlacher, Gale Sayers, Walter Payton. I mean, the list goes on and on and on of guys that we've just wasted. And we have the opportunity now to turn all of that around. The opportunity now, it was just like the Cubs in 2015, 2016, right? Like all of a sudden, a franchise that we watched all the time and we loved, and they were the lovable losers, right? They had a chance to change it all. And they did it just the same way the Bears did for one damn year. And then it all fell apart. They failed to fill holes. They let guys walk. They didn't pay guys. They didn't do any of that. The Bears have the opportunity to change all of that this offseason. And it could all start going away. This team should be able to build a semblance of what the Packers have done over the last 30 years, of what the Patriots have done over the last 30 years, of what the Kansas City Chiefs are doing now, what the Cincinnati Bengals are doing now, building teams that can consistently compete at a playoff caliber level. That's all we need. I'm not saying we need to win the Super Bowl every damn year. But we as fans in this great city of this great franchise, we deserve to have a team that every year we go, all right, we win the division, and we've just got to compete. We are a top 3 team in this conference. That's all we got to be every year. And that's what we should be every damn year. There is no reason the Chicago Bears should be going through rebuild after rebuild after rebuild, never having any semblance of an offense, never having any semblance of a quarterback prior to last year. I mean, look, you talk all you want about Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler was all right, but Jay Cutler was his potential was here and his performance was here.
Yeah.
Like that was
and what was the
like,
cost to him
all potential
of not having a line? I mean, what was the cost there when he didn't have a line, when you got Ndamukong Suh, when he gets sacked 6 times in the first half of a game? Like I said, it's malpractice. The cost in football is higher than it is. You know how much I love baseball.
Yeah.
But the cost in football is higher. Look at Derek Carr's brother, David Carr, who is arguably more talented than Derek Carr. Look at what the Texans did to him with no offensive line. He got sacked more in 4 years than I think any player in football. Ruined his career. I mean, if does Walter Payton play 14, 15 years in the NFL if he's not waiting for the Bears to come around? Does he play that long? After he beats Brown's record, which was very important to him in 1984. He waited that long for a good team, so he played through the 87 season.
And then he finally gets to the Super Bowl, and we give Refrigerator Perry the ball on the one.
That's because that's Mike Ditka's fucking ego, dude, too, which I can go on a long time about.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother show.
It drives me nuts, man. It does. We've got the chance to turn it all around. Starting Wednesday, I'm very interested to see what happens. Are you over or under 3 signings on Wednesday?
I think I'm over because there's a lot of things they can do at the edges on this team. You know, there's a lot of backup players you can get, a lot of players that, they look like a good starter, can fight for a position. You need them fighting some of these rookies for a position.
Fun fact, my former boss kicked for the Chicago Bears on the strike team in the 80s. John Duvich.
Yeah, okay. I think I met the quarterback of that team. I forget what.
Hopefully he kicked better than you throw bags.
82.
Just kidding.
Johnny Torres or me?
Johnny.
Shots firing from Combs.
Arlington Heights Bears, please keep Chicago out of your.
Yeah, exactly.
Look,
We'll have a Southside team soon.
This Bears team, I'm over 3 as well. I
Yeah.
think Orlando Brown. I think Ryan Clark. I think you get both of those guys on day one. You know,
Too bad
and
Payne. Too bad the Redskins.
do they go after a wide receiver? I don't think they go after a wide receiver. I think
No,
they're
they don't
going to
need to.
focus on line. I think they're going to focus on secondary. I think they're going to focus on an edge rusher like Ryan Clark. I think that they are also going to, or I'm sorry, I keep saying Ryan Clark. I mean Frank Clark. Sorry, I keep saying Ryan. I don't know why.
They don't need backup wide receivers or seconds.
Yeah.
But they got EQ St. Brown.
Get the fuck out of here. Get the hell out of here. I think that wide
can
receiver is going to
block.
go in the draft. I really do. I think number 9, we're going to see a wide receiver go, whether it's in Jigba, who I don't think falls that far, or it's Quentin Johnson, who the Bears just, I mean, I would.
It depends what they do in free agency. Yeah. I mean, if they don't have a left tackle in free agency, they're going left tackle.
We talked about me going nuts if Houston, or I'm sorry, if Carolina trades down and gets a better deal than the Bears for the number 1 pick. I will be so excited on live TV on draft night if the Bears call Quentin Johnson's name at number 9. I might run around Bourbon Street in my underwear or something. Like it would be. I would be extremely excited about that
Are you
pick.
gonna paint your face like Mel Gibson in Braveheart and ride around on a horse?
Yeah. So, have you watched much of the Baseball Classic before we get out of here? Have you watched much of it?
I did.
I've actually got Israel versus Nicaragua on my TV screen right now.
Go. It's still not in the Olympics. Baseball.
Jack
Nice
Peterson
market.
playing center field for Team Israel, by the way.
Is this the best of the best players playing each other, though? I mean,
No,
the best
I mean,
of the
look,
best
there's a
team.
lot of there is a
It's fun to
lot
watch,
of not like the Cubs got Matt Mervis on Team Israel. There is not I mean, look, Dominican Republic is stacked. Team USA is stacked offensively. Team USA is stacked. I'm worried about the pitching, but offensively, Johnny Torres. I'm not bringing that comment up, Johnny. I see what you said. I'm not bringing it up, but they're
Whoa, bring it up.
offensively, Team USA has the best team, I think. And I'm wondering if their pitching is going to hold up against teams like that. Johnny Torres says, Combs, let's talk about that Bags game we had at Bourbon this past Thursday.
Yeah.
I didn't play against you this Thursday, Johnny. Are you sure this ain't the Irish flu? I did not play against you on Thursday.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. I played against him. I believe it was the previous Thursday. No, I don't think I've been up against you in a while. Johnny says, yes, you did. I really don't remember it. I really don't. So you probably beat me, which I mean is no look. Bragging about beating me in a game of bags, Johnny Torres, is like bragging about beating the Perkins School for the Blind at a game of hopscotch.
Or killing Virginia McCaskey.
Well, it's
doesn't
not really
take much.
saying much that you beat me. What happened when you played against somebody who was really good? Let's talk about those games, Johnny. Just kidding. Johnny's a tremendous bag shooter, actually. That guy can hit a freaking.
He carried me,
he's
like
ridiculous.
I said, in a few games when we played. But to get back to the World Baseball Classic, are you more interested in the World Baseball Classic game, or would you be watching the Cub Brewers spring training game? This is my point. I would rather watch Game 5 of the White Sox season than probably any of these World Baseball Classic games.
Really?
Maybe not the championship. They're interesting. I love baseball. I'm going to watch anyway. I like them playing on other teams, but these guys are not in like mid-season shape or even start of season shape.
Dude, but these guys really want to win, dude. Like if you didn't watch the Italy versus Netherlands game this morning, I invite you to at least go back and watch the 9th inning, right? Because the heart that was put into what they needed to do, right? Because they knew they had to win by like 5 runs or 6 runs or whatever it was, and they had a 6-run lead, and all of a sudden the Netherlands has I don't know if it's base loaded runners on first and second, I can't remember, but nobody out, and then they win and they're mobbing each other out there, and then it comes up on the board because they had to check everything, make sure everything was good, and all the other scores from this morning. They see up on the board, they're the runner-up, and dude, it was crazy. Guys were crying. These guys want to win. They want, and
watch
to me, like, I love the World Baseball. I will be watching the World Baseball Classic over spring training baseball, over the Cubs spring training.
That was
today.
That was half tongue in cheek, but I think of the major. I just think that this should be in the Olympics. But the Mexico-U.S. game tonight, because Mexico has to win, is going to be crackling. It's going to be quite a game. I think Lance Lynn starts that game. Had a great last spring training, struck out 6 guys in 5 innings. He's not in midseason for him, but he came ready in spring training to pitch some pitches. I think they put him in because he throws a lot of strikes. I don't see a better pitcher on the team. Wainwright pitched last night because they were playing Great Britain, which was kind of cool to kick the shit out of England again. 1776. Yeah.
And all this talk about we need to change the rules to bring in the people that don't like baseball anyways, and blah blah blah. Watch the Shohei Ohtani at bat from this morning. Watch when he hits that home run and listen to the crowd. Watch the Kyle Schwarber at bat from last night. Beautiful baseball is doing just fine. And you know what? They have sold out crowds in these World Baseball Classic games. The Cubs have set like 3 spring training records for attendance, right? You know what they don't have in the World Baseball Classic? They don't have a pitch clock.
Yeah.
They don't have these stupid pickoff rules. They don't have your reliever must face 3 batters, blah, 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 blah. They don't have those rules. And you still have sold out stadiums. You still have crowds going absolutely insane in big moments. Baseball is doing just fine. We don't need all these rule changes. We need better marketing.
Exactly. If they marketed it better, is baseball still in the Olympics? I mean, internationally, look at what the NBA did when everybody said the NBA was dumb. We had this conversation in the pre-show, but we can have it again live. Look at what the NBA did even in the late 80s when they said they were dumb, even in the 90s. Like, oh, China's never going to want to play basketball, like all that crap. Now it's an international game. Internationally, I would like to see where the numbers are, but I bet you internationally they make about as much as they do nationally, the NBA.
What's the effect of the pitch count on Lance Lynn's BGPG ball grabs per game in 2023?
Doubting Thomas, the guy grabs his balls more than any pitcher in baseball history. Watch him tonight because he's going to pitch tonight, whether he starts or not. They're going to have to pitch him against Mexico. I don't see how they don't, but the worse he's doing, the more ball grabbing there is. I've counted.
Look, ball grabbing is one thing. It's been a thing in baseball for a long time. Ball grabbing and spitting. The thing I don't get is the after a home run dick bump.
Yes.
Have you seen that? Like the Cubs started that in 2016, and but like it caught on. I see people doing it all the time.
I don't get it. It's not funny. It's not.
From now on, when we do the show in the same location, we have a good show. We're going to dick bump after.
Oh, thank you. I got to get my old cup on from the Babe Ruth.
No cups. Straight dick bump.
Oh my God.
That's how we're going to roll from now on.
Last week we ended the show about me slaying if I was in my 20s again and had the brain of a 40-year-old.
Did your wife kill you? Well, she clearly didn't kill you for that, but did she give you some shit for that?
When I walked out of the show, we were going furniture shopping. She's like, "Slay? You're gonna slay? Slaying, huh?" What do you got to say to that, Doubting Thomas?
Yeah, I walked off the show too. Michelle was sitting down here, and she goes, "I said, what do you want to do today?" She's like, "I don't know. I thought you were going to a strip club."
Yeah.
Alrighty then. Alrighty. Know where I stand.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it is
show.
again Southside Irish Parade Day here. I'm gonna go do a couple Irish car bombs. I'm gonna go eat some corned beef,
Oh yeah.
and then I'm gonna get out of here. So, you guys, we had a great show. Thank you guys for joining. Johnny Torres was on the chat. He did say we played a cash game. He said not to mention today after it was over. I do remember that now. It did happen. It did. I told my partner, I even walked over to my partner halfway through the game, and we had a game. We were like halfway through the game, and I said, dude, if we beat Johnny Torres, I'm going to talk about you and me all day on Sunday, how we beat Johnny Torres at Bags. And then Johnny Torres came back and kicked our ass. So it happened.
Yeah.
I forgot about it. I really did forget about it, though.
Oh my God.
Anyway, great show. Johnny Torres, Doubting Thomas, Johnny Fitzgibbons, Craig Haviland. Thank you guys for checking in. We've also had Brian Nolan II on for an interview. Thank you for joining. That was a good interview. And we will see you guys next Sunday. We might start changing the time. We might be doing a Sunday night broadcast instead of a Sunday morning broadcast. Tell me what you guys think about that. Hit us up in the chat. Hit us up on Facebook. Let us know what you guys think. Do the Sunday mornings work? Would you rather see a Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, all night?
Shut up.
You want to see? We'll talk to you later. Have a good night.